Tyreek Hill sitting for depositions in an ongoing lawsuit, under oath talking about fake Instagram accounts, sex tapes, and former NFL players who connected him with the woman now suing him, has set the internet on fire. And the details that came out of those court transcripts may have dragged other names in the league into a mess they never signed up for. So let's break down what happened when Tyreek Hill went under oath, and what he said about other NFL figures while he was there. In June 2023, Tyreek Hill invited a woman named Sophie Hall to his home in Southwest Ranches, Florida. Sophie, 35, claimed she met Tyreek in 2023 after he reached out to her on Instagram. She said the message came after she signed up her son for Tyreek's football camp. The model said she went to Tyreek's home in Florida to hang out. She said she played football with him. What was supposed to be a casual meetup, maybe some football drills, and friendly conversation turned into something that would land in a courtroom and become one of the wildest legal sagas in recent NFL memory. Here's what Sophie says happened. She says that Tyreek invited her to run offensive line drills with him. Hall claimed Hill asked her to rush against him in a defensive line versus offensive line, one-on-one style workout, and she shoved the Super Bowl champion backwards, which embarrassed him. According to Hall, that's when things went sideways. She says, after flipping the roles so he could rush her, Hill charged her violently and with great force, resulting in a right leg injury. The aftermath, Hall said she was later diagnosed with a fractured leg that required surgery. In February 2024, Sophie Hall filed a lawsuit against Tyreek Hill, accusing him of breaking her leg. She is suing the NFL star for battery assault, an intentional infliction of emotional distress. Now, Tyreek's side of the story is completely different. Hill denied hurting Hall and said the plaintiff injured her leg after tripping over a dog, his dog specifically, a dog named Chapo. In his account of events, Sophie stepped on his dog during one of the drills, fell on her own, and that's how she got hurt. His lawyer at the time called the entire lawsuit a scare tactic, something designed to pressure Tyreek into paying for Sophie's medical bills. Julius B. Collins told the outlet that he believes the lawsuit was filed to generate bad publicity for Mr. Hill in an attempt to scare tactic him into personally covering the cost of Miss Hall's medical bills. Collins also accused Hall's counsel of purposefully omitting the information about the dog from her original complaint. And this is where the story becomes more than a he said, she said about a broken leg, because the lawsuit didn't go away. It dragged Tyreek into depositions. And once you sit for a deposition under oath, with lawyers asking questions designed to peel back every layer of your personal life, things get said, things that can't be unsaid, things that involve other people. That's when Tyreek Hill started talking. Tyreek Hill's first deposition took place in December 2024. In Touch obtained the transcript for the Miami Dolphins wide receiver's deposition, taken in December 2024. And the contents of that transcript were not what anyone expected from a routine personal injury case. Sophie's lawyers didn't just ask about the football drill that day. They went after every angle of Tyreek's personal life, his relationship status, his marriage, how many children he had, the circumstances that brought Sophie into his orbit in the first place. They wanted to paint a full picture, and Tyreek under oath had to answer. Sophie's lawyer questioned the NFL star about his relationship with his wife, Keita Hill. Tyreek said he had been married to Keita for over a year. He said he had been with her since his rookie year in 2016, but not married. Tyreek said the relationship has been on and off at times. Then the questions shifted to who introduced Tyreek to Sophie in the first place. During his deposition, Sophie's lawyer grilled Tyreek about who introduced the NFL star to Sophie. He refused to answer the question. Tyreek claimed he was shown videos of Sophie by a friend. This is the part where it started getting uncomfortable. The lawyer pressed harder. What kind of videos? From whom? The lawyer asked, what friends did you? What friends had sex videos involving Sophie Hall? Tyreek answered, yes, but I'd rather not say that person's name though, because I don't want to bring my dog into this. So Tyreek admitted a friend showed him explicit content featuring Sophie before he ever reached out to her. But he was protecting that friend. He didn't want to drag them into the lawsuit. The lawyer, of course, wasn't going to let that slide. The questioning continued. Was this friend in the NFL? The lawyer asked Tyreek if the friend was in the NFL. Tyreek said no. He was then asked if the friend used to play in the NFL. Was so passed, so, yeah, you can say that. Tyreek answered. Tyreek said he never played on the same team as the friend in question. So now there's a former NFL player, unnamed, who is the link between Tyreek and Sophie, a former player who showed Tyreek videos of Sophie, which led to Tyreek reaching out to her on Instagram, which led to the visit to his house, which led to the football drills, which led to the broken leg, which led to the lawsuit, and that former NFL player's identity. Tyreek wouldn't give it up. Not yet. But it wasn't just the mystery friend who got dragged into the spotlight. Tyreek also admitted in his deposition that he had inappropriately touched Sophie during their football drills. Tyreek Hill also admitted in his deposition that while they were playing football, he grabbed Sophie Hall's breast in a motion like a player getting underneath an opponent's shoulder pads, and that it was a little foreplay-ish. He also talked about Sophie's career as a content creator, making remarks that raised eyebrows. When asked why he would tell an OnlyFans model he'd make a good stepdad, Tyreek said, "I mean, that's easy to say, but if you're selling your body naked online, then that's the impression you give to dudes." Then his account of the actual injury itself. He didn't just deny hurting Sophie. He said his priority after she fell was his dog. She stepped on him, almost squished him to death. She just fell to her butt after that, he said. "I went and made sure my dog was all right first. Because my dog, like that's my prize and possession. I love Chapo." And adding another layer to the entire saga, the deposition became even more complicated when Sophie claimed they got intimate after the incident. The WR's lawyer, Robert Horowitz, asked her, "So the next day, did you have sex with him?" The model replied, "Yes, later that day once." The situation becomes even harder to digest as she stayed with the NFL star for days. After the incident, enjoying family events, fishing, and riding on the back of a four-wheeler before going home. This deposition transcript alone was enough to make headlines. But it was the second deposition that took things to a different level entirely. Sophie's lawyers brought Tyreek back for a second deposition in February 2025. In Touch obtained the transcript for a deposition that Tyreek, 31, sat for on February 14th. And if the first deposition was messy, the second one was a full-blown courtroom circus. The lawyers opened with a pointed question. The lawyer started off by asking him if he ever spoke or joked about the lawsuit filed by Sophie with friends or in the locker room. Tyreek said he had not talked about it with anyone. Then they introduced a name, Bayron Matos. The lawyer then asked Tyreek if he knew who Bayron Matos was. Bayron, who is from the Dominican Republic, was a part of the NFL's Intentional Player Pathway program, which allowed foreign players a chance to play in the league. He was signed to a deal with the Miami Dolphins, the same team Tyreek plays on. In January, Tyreek said he knew who Bayron was, but they were not close. Tyreek tried to keep it short and neutral. "I have no issues with anyone, sir. He's from a different part of the world. He's like a special addition to the Dolphins. You know what I'm saying?" The lawyer asked if Tyreek spoke to Bayron about Sophie. Initially, Tyreek said no, or would depose Bayron next. Tyreek's answer shifted. He asked, like if we asked him, he's going to say, "I never spoke to Tyreek about this." Tyreek replied, "I mean, he tried, but I shut it down immediately." But, right. But what did he try to do? The lawyer asked. "I don't know, like just talk. Like just have conversations. It seems like just trying to get information to see what's going on," Tyreek said. So a Dolphins teammate, even if not a well-known one, was now connected to the case through Tyreek's own words. And the questioning didn't stop there. The lawyers went back to the unnamed former NFL player, who had originally shown Tyreek the videos of Sophie. The NFL star said he got a message from his homeboy saying who she was, after Sophie signed up for the camp. But that's what I'm trying to understand. In other words, who's your homeboy? What's his name? The lawyer asked. "I would like to not give his name," Tyreek replied. This is the key moment that people online have been calling snitching, because here is Tyreek Hill, under oath, slowly but surely confirming that an NFL player, whether current or former, had a direct role in connecting him with Sophie. He was giving up breadcrumbs that could lead investigators, media, and the public directly to other people in professional football. And the breadcrumbs were getting more specific with every answer. Then the deposition veered into Tyreek's social media habits. Tyreek was also asked more questions about the Finsta, an Instagram account with a fake name, during the second deposition. During the first deposition, Tyreek admitted to previously using a Finsta and having an OnlyFans account in a fake name. He said, "So I got rid of all that. I got rid of fake Finsta, fake OnlyFans, all that." He was then asked again about his teammate Bayron, and if he had any recollection communicating with him about Sophie. The revelation that one of the NFL's biggest stars was operating secret social media accounts, a fake Instagram and a fake OnlyFans account under aliases, and it put every NFL locker room on notice. If your name came up in Tyreek's phone or in those accounts, it might come up next in the courtroom. The deposition painted a picture of a world where NFL players shared explicit content among themselves, communicated through aliases, and had far more complicated personal lives than the public was seeing. And the fact that Tyreek kept refusing to name names while simultaneously confirming that names existed. That's the paradox that made this feel like a ticking time bomb. Every time he said, "I'd rather not say," it confirmed there was somebody to not say, and that somebody was at least in part connected to the NFL. The Sophie Hall lawsuit would have been dramatic enough on its own, but Tyreek Hill wasn't just dealing with one legal front. His personal life was collapsing in real time as these depositions were happening. In April 2025, Vaccaro filed for divorce from Hill. Then things escalated rapidly. Hill's estranged wife, Keita Vaccaro, alleged 8 separate incidents of domestic violence and filings related to the couple's divorce case, according to documents obtained by TMZ. The allegations were devastating in their specificity. Vaccaro is saying in a new court filing in her divorce case that Hill began to get violent with her in January 2024, 2 months after they got married. She alleged that at their Southwest Ranches, Florida home, Hill shoved her to the floor, stood over her, and ripped off her necklace during a tiff over a postnuptial agreement. That postnuptial agreement is a critical detail. Vaccaro contends that the problems traced to Hill's effort to get her to sign a postnuptial agreement, which would have bought out her rights upon divorce for $100,000. She said no, and according to her filings, that's when the violence began. The allegations didn't stop at one incident. According to court documents, 2 weeks later, in late January 2024, Vaccaro claims Hill got mad at her while the two were at an Orlando, Florida hotel. And in the documents, Vaccaro describes a pattern that continued for months, with Hill allegedly becoming physically aggressive on 8 separate occasions. Tyreek's legal team fired back hard. Hill vehemently denied Vaccaro's accusations in a statement released Monday by his attorney, saying the allegations are part of a shakedown that are an attempt to generate bad media coverage for the 5-time All-Pro. His lawyer also tried to prevent the allegations from going public in the first place. In the letter, Seth E. Schneiderman said the allegations of the amended petition appear to be a calculated and malicious attempt to weaponize the judicial process for improper financial gain. Schneiderman's letter accurately predicted that the NFL would launch an investigation of Hill based on the allegations, and that any punishment imposed on Hill would harm Vaccaro financially. But the media fought to get those documents unsealed in a motion filed with the Miami-Dade Circuit Court. 6 media outlets, the Miami Herald, Scripps Media, CBS 4, Defector Media, NBC6, and Telemundo 51, requested the document alleging 8 instances of domestic abuse be unsealed. And eventually they won. The NFL had no choice but to act. The NFL is investigating recent accusations of domestic violence involving Miami Dolphins wide receiver Tyreek Hill. NFL spokesperson Brian McCarthy said Wednesday that it is standard policy for the league to review a matter such as this. The NFL investigation into Tyreek Hill regarding the multiple allegations of domestic violence is moving forward, and his ex-wife Keita Vaccaro will speak with the league investigators soon, per the Miami Herald. Vaccaro is asking that the deposition that Hill gave in their divorce settlement be submitted to the league. And here's what ties everything together. This wasn't Tyreek Hill's first encounter with these types of allegations. In 2015, Hill pleaded guilty to domestic assault and battery by strangulation in an incident involving his then-pregnant girlfriend. This is the 3rd known allegation of domestic violence against Hill. The first came during Hill's time at Oklahoma State and led to his removal from the football and track teams, as well as several NFL teams' draft boards. The second was in 2019 while he was on the Chiefs. Both came from Hill's ex-fiancée and the mother of his children, Crystal Espinal. So when Tyreek went under oath in the Sophie Hall case and started giving answers that implicated other NFL figures, the backdrop wasn't just a broken leg lawsuit. It was a man whose entire personal life, past and present, was being examined simultaneously by the legal system and the league office. and every word he said in one courtroom could echo in another. The cumulative weight of everything, the lawsuit, the depositions, the domestic violence investigation, and a devastating knee injury, came crashing down on Tyreek Hill in late 2025 and early 2026. On the field, the 2025 season was a disaster from the start. Tyreek Hill's 2025 season ended abruptly after just 4 games. The veteran wide receiver suffered a season-ending knee injury in Week 4, tearing his ACL and dislocating his knee, which required surgery and sidelined him for the remainder of the year. He finished the season with 21 receptions for 265 yards and 1 touchdown. That injury ultimately factored into the Miami Dolphins' decision to release him in February, a move tied to both cap considerations and uncertainty surrounding his recovery. Hill's release comes ahead of contract guarantees that would have taken effect during the 2026 season, and the NFL's personal conduct policy review remains hanging over his head like a storm cloud that won't move. As of February 2026, Hill remains the subject of an active personal conduct policy review. The NFL confirmed on Tuesday via email that the probe is ongoing. If a violation is found, other incidents could become aggravating factors when punishment is determined, including the situation from 2014 that resulted in his dismissal from the Oklahoma State football team. The Sophie Hall lawsuit is also still very much alive. A judge denied the model's request to force the receiver to take a court-mandated psych exam. Judge David Haynes filed his decision recently, denying a motion filed by Hall's legal team in December that was looking to make Hill sit down with a licensed psychologist. That was a small win for Tyreek, but the case itself continues. Hall's lawyers filed requests for all documents and communications between Tyreek Hill and the NFL. Per DailyMail.com, Hall's attorneys will subpoena the NFL directly. In addition to the league, the wide receivers' former and current teams, the Kansas City Chiefs and Miami Dolphins, are also likely to receive subpoenas. Moreover, the publication also reported that the lawyers would subpoena Oklahoma State University, where he was dismissed from the football and track and field teams in 2014 for a domestic violence incident. So the snitching that everyone's been talking about isn't just about naming one friend in a deposition. It's about the legal process now reaching into the NFL itself, into team files, league investigation records, university archives, because of what Tyreek said and didn't say while under oath. Every time he hinted that other people were involved, it gave the lawyers ammunition to go broader with their subpoenas. Every time he admitted a connection existed while refusing to name it, it gave them justification to dig deeper. Meanwhile, Tyreek is currently a free agent, recovering from one of the most serious injuries a wide receiver can sustain. Tyreek Hill has no hard feelings following his release from the Miami Dolphins and wants the rest of the NFL to know he's anxious to get back on the field for the 2026 season. Grateful for the opportunity in Miami after 4 seasons with the franchise, the 5-time All-Pro broke his silence this week after the roster move and said he is focused on a return to playing at an elite level. His release immediately sparked widespread speculation about his next destination, with multiple teams linked to the 8-time Pro Bowler. Among them, the Kansas City Chiefs have generated the most buzz considering Hill's successful stint in Kansas City. But the elephant in the room is that the investigation, the lawsuits, and the deposition transcripts are all still out there. Any team that signs Tyreek Hill isn't just signing a receiver, they're signing on to everything that comes with him. The ongoing personal conduct policy review could result in a suspension. The Sophie Hall case could go to trial. And those deposition transcripts, with their references to unnamed former NFL players and secret social media accounts, could produce even more headlines. Tyreek Hill went into a courtroom, swore to tell the truth, and in doing so opened doors that can't be closed. He tried to protect his friends, tried to keep names out of it, but under the weight of direct questioning, he confirmed enough to make the entire NFL world wonder. Who else is in this story? The depositions revealed a reality of private group chats, explicit content being shared among players, fake accounts, and relationships built in the shadows of fame. And when one person gets put under oath, the shadows start to fade, whether they want them to or not. Whether Tyreek Hill intended to snitch on anyone is up for debate. But the transcript is there, the breadcrumbs are there, and the legal process, which does not care about locker room codes or friendships, is following them all the way to their conclusion.